Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
For multiple conversations you had with Rob O'Neill over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass right there.
Go, go, go. We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob O'Neill, and this is the Operator Podcast. We are getting there. We're coming up on 2024. It's very exciting, the Christmas time of year. We start celebrating Christmas right after Thanksgiving ends, and I love this time of year. I hope you do too. It's fun getting up to Christmas, giving gifts. Obviously, the food's great. Our New Year's resolutions are coming up. My favorite time of the year is like the 26th to the 1st, where I lose track of time. It doesn't really matter what's happening. It's good to sit down. You don't necessarily need to be studying or reading, although I enjoy it. I like to read stuff and study stuff. Every different point of view if I can too. To try to see what people are thinking, and maybe that's where I can get some of my points here on the Operator Podcast. We are going to try to talk a little, we're going to recap a little bit about what's happening lately, because it sort of all came head-to-head. Cancel culture mixed with owning businesses, mixed with left and right. It doesn't necessarily need to be left versus right, but it comes to that. I'm going to interview Alan Beal today, who's the CEO of Armed Forces Brewing Company. I'm a part of that too. We had some stuff going in Norfolk, Virginia. We just we're getting around to opening a brewery there. Can't wait to have everybody over, and we're going to get into it. But everyone is obviously welcome at Armed Forces Brewing Company. But because of some of the social media stuff and whatnot, we did have some not necessarily protesters, just anti-Armed Forces Brewing Company, because the loudest part of some of these places decided that we were not on board with what they're on board with whatever they're on board with, and so they're throwing out the usual names: racist, homophobe, Islamophobe, xenophobe, anything phobe, which I think is a ridiculous cop-out, because a phobia is being afraid. And there's a difference between not understanding, disagreeing, and being afraid. They're different. So we're going to get to that in a little bit too. Obviously, we're going to cover some current events and whatnot, and maybe some funny stories and the like. But we'll get into that too. I need to talk to you first about some good advice for life. You need to stop sending money to big insurance companies that profit off of you not paying your bills. Did you know that 48 million claims on Obamacare last year were denied? That's 1 in 5 claims are going to get rejected. Why do you want to take that chance? Health insurance sucks. I think everyone knows that. It's confusing, it's expensive, it's frustrating. There is a better way. Welcome to the alternative. That's called Crowd Health. Crowd Health was created to get rid of the headaches of health insurance. For $175 for an individual or $575 for a family of 4 or more, you'll get access to a community of people who are willing to help out in the event of an emergency. You'll also get telemedicine. Those are telemedicine visits, discounted prescriptions, and more. All this without doctors' networks getting in the way. Let Crowd Health assist with your healthcare needs. You can get started today for just $99 per month for the first 3 months when you use code THEOPERATOR to get the healthcare you deserve. Crowd Health is not insurance. Learn more at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com. Use code THEOPERATOR. Go check it out. Joincrowdhealth.com, code THEOPERATOR. And taking a little bit of a break from all of the action, you may have noticed on social media, Jessica and I have announced that we are going to have a baby. And we are very, very excited. It's going to be fun. I have done it before. I'm very excited to do it again. I am familiar with what it's like to have a baby, and I will tell you from personal experience that war has rules. I've always said that, but babies do not. And I'm very excited to be working with Tactical Baby Gear. It's just a completely different animal. I'm excited to jump back into it. Elbows first, but dirty diapers, screaming fits, and sleepless nights. Parenthood is not for the faint of heart. I'm telling you, I've done it. I'm ready to do it again. I'm excited to be with Tactical Baby Gear. It was founded by parents for parents with kit you can be proud to carry. You'll overcome every spit up, every blowout, every meltdown along the way. Prepare for whatever the little bundle of joy brings you with stuff that looks cool. I was perusing Tactical Baby Gear today. The diaper changing kit is a must. Diaper, wipes, disposable changing pad. The disposable changing pad is awesome. Trash bag, distraction card. Never leave home without that. The all-terrain Veer switchback stroller. Check out the strollers and wagons. Aluminum frame, soft jersey knit seat, shock absorbers for the stroller, not for your mental state, but that comes with having thing in place where it should be. There's a storage basket on the stroller. All this stuff at tacticalbabygear.com is highly practical, highly functional, extremely high quality. It's just cool. It keeps everything compartmentalized. You got your hook and pile tape with the patches, mommy, daddy, anything you can label it. It's all everywhere you need it to be. Very, very precise, very pristine, and it's always ready. Diaper bags, tactical totes, baby carriers, strollers, wagons, wipes. I love the wipes. They come in packs that are cool. You don't need to worry about them drying out. Babies are messy, but Tactical Baby Care's got you covered. And I'm talking about the baby's hands, face, little arms and knees, and all the little bendies and folds and whatnot. Handy travel packs are great for the car, suitcase, your diaper bag, and everything in between. Lifetime warranty when you go to tacticalbabygear.com and use code The Operator. Save 15% at tacticalbabygear.com, code The Operator. We don't say, don't tread on me. We say, don't poop on me. Tacticalbabygear.com, use code The Operator. God, guns, and diapers, baby. And with the current events, everything from movies to doomsday stuff and protecting yourself and your family, everything, finances and guns at home, Second Amendment. Obviously, the government's going to come in. No matter what, we try to not talk about politics, but it gets into there. But if you give the government anything, they're going to take everything. Give them an inch, they take more. Second Amendment's obviously a hot topic. Either side, the fringes both go nuts. But you got to keep it to protect yourself from a tyrannical government. Getting closer and closer to that every day. With guns, though, I want to tell you about Muddy River Tactical for holsters. These are really cool concealed holsters. You got to check them out. MuddyRiverTactical.com. Their story started back in 2014 when the founder of the company couldn't find the type of holster he was looking for online websites or at shops or whatever. And the company's had zero customer service. So they just started making their own at Muddy River Tactical. It's a family-owned business, over 250,000 loyal customers now. They're making really cool holsters, computer numerical control. These are complex machines that are controlled by a computer to provide a level of efficiency, of accuracy, consistency, which it would be impossible to achieve through the manual process. Inside the waistband, outside the waistband, I just got a couple of them. Really cool, really sleek, really light. There's light bearing options, range and duty holsters. There's a 15-day risk-free trial if you go to MuddyRiverTactical.com. If you don't love it, 15 days, send it back for a full refund. You can find them on Facebook or on Instagram. Again, that's Muddy River Tactical. If you go to MuddyRiverTactical.com right now for these really cool holsters and use code The Operator, you can get 15% off these badass holsters, made in the USA, family-owned, precision-engineered, and there's a no BS lifetime guarantee. I love my holster. They're great. MuddyRiverTactical.com. Code The Operator, 15% off. Go check them out. Badass holsters. MuddyRiverTactical.com. And like I promised, today we are going to talk about some fun stuff too, because at the Operator Podcast, I say The Operator. I'm reiterating here because I like to do that because I sometimes forget what the hell I'm talking about. It's called The Operator, not calling myself The Operator. If you're operating to keep your family afloat, keep a business afloat, keep gas in your car or the lights on, you are operating. You are doing something to help other people, help yourself, keep stuff going, basically. Speaking of businesses too, one of the businesses I'm in with fellow small business for now operator is the CEO of Armed Forces Brewing Company, my good friend Alan Beal. Alan, welcome to the Operator Podcast.
Hey Rob, thanks for having me on. This is great.
My pleasure too. This fits right in beautifully because like I say, like when you're trying to do something, trying to better yourself, trying to better others around you, Armed Forces Brewing Company is cool because I wasn't necessarily there when you thought of it, but I did see it online. I believe the one I caught onto was Seawolf Brewery, and there was a couple other ones. What were they when they started? When Armed Forces Brewing Company started?
It was Seawolf Brewery, and it took me a year and a half to get your attention, by the way.
I didn't know you were trying to get my attention. I don't know if I was getting DMs or whatever, but yeah,
I was tagging you on posts and everything.
But I saw them. I saw them, and it turns out I even though I'm on a break now, I like beer, love this beer, and Seawolf hit me because of its Navy heritage. Want to get how you got with? I mean, everything from being in Annapolis, Maryland to Seawolf.
Yeah, well, I had our two of our partners, Rob, Amit and Rapani and Jason Bailey. I met them at a bar rescue that I was doing in Washington, D.C. And they said, hey, we love craft beer. We travel all over the country to these new brewery openings. And Annapolis, Maryland doesn't have a craft beer scene. And we have an idea to make beer that tributes Naval Academy or Navy service. So can you consult for us? Can you help us? We don't know what to do. So I literally pulled into Annapolis, saw the Naval Academy, and being from a military family and knowing the food and beverage industry, it just like clicked like crazy. I said, this is going to be huge. So I've literally moved to Annapolis.
Now, so where did you move from?
North Carolina.
Right. And you have a background in the food service industry, correct?
Yeah, I've been a consultant in the industry for 30 plus years.
I love it about you because when just not to jump ahead, but we were on a Zoom call with potential investors, and one of the questions still, and I bring this up not even just to you, because like you said, you moved from North Carolina right to Annapolis, and then obviously from Annapolis to Norfolk, Virginia. But when one of the investors asked you, "What else do you do?" and your answer was nothing. I do this. No, that's cool because that's just proof that you're all in. I think that's neat. So what was it like moving from North Carolina right to Annapolis? You'd been to Annapolis before.
I had never been to Annapolis. It was my very first time. But being a Navy fan growing up, we watched the Army Navy game every year. So I always have been a Navy football fan. Mm-hmm. To be there was just, it escalated the hype of developing this brand in Annapolis, where the Naval Academy was. So back to your first question, we did the Seawolf brand for the Navy. Remember, we did the Soldier Brewery brand for the Army and the Jarhead Brewery brand for the Marines and Airman Brewery, but it just wasn't viable to do all those brands.
Yeah,
because Walmart didn't want to carry all these different brands. They wanted one brand. The chains did, and so we condensed it down to Armed Forces Brewing Company.
That's that's not for your first time. That's quite a unique military town, the Naval Academy. That's a really, really cool place. Everything from the scenery, obviously the academy, the history there. That's just a badass place too. That's kind of what got my attention. Just the Seawolf, because when I was just kind of dicking around, I'm like, man, I want to do something cool. And Seawolf came out to be. It just seemed cool to me, and I remember the first conversation we had.
I do too, because I was trying to get your contact info. I wanted to send you beer. I wanted you to taste the beer because not only was the can cool and the name cool and the tribute cool and all that stuff, the beer was actually awesome because we have a great partner in our brewmaster.
The brewmaster is incredible too. I remember the first you sent us beer. I was living in Tennessee, and I was out of town, and Jessica got it. And her first response was, I think a direct quote, because she's a lady, is, "I don't know who this is, but this beer is fucking awesome."
Yeah, I remember the email and the text. Yep.
Yeah, that was and the Seawolf. That's a class of subs, which I just thought it was cool. I wanted to talk to you. You sent it to us, and that's that's how we started. That's how I got involved with it. And where'd you find the brewmeister? What's his background?
You know, it's really funny. Bob Rupperich's been in the beer industry for like 25 years. He was the beer director and brewmaster over at Duclaw Brewery, which is like this regional sized brewery in Maryland. So, and he's won the Maryland Governor's Cup for brewing excellence. But I found him on a Craigslist ad. I put a Craigslist ad out for a brewer to become a partner in a new, concept, and he answered it.
I see. This is so cool. I was just up in Montana talking to my old high school, and one of the things a point that I make to young people, obviously, like my go-to lines are like, take the shot. Go on an adventure. If you feel like you're backed in a corner or life is not good, take a shot. So kids that age, like join the military, do something but go on that adventure, like moving from North Carolina to Annapolis, take the shot. There's your adventure. But then seriously, wherever you are, be there and just send the email, get on Craigslist and again, I'm not judging other people for whatever else they do on Craigslist, but that's just cool how the whole thing started. And then, Bob just knows what he's doing. Cause that beer is awesome.
Yes. Absolutely. And you know what? All the beers are good. There's not one crappy beer in there. You should see the engagement we have on social media and from our shareholders. They love the beer. I don't see people going, this beer sucks, or I don't like this one, or it's crazy.
Well, I like obviously I love the Armed Forces theme. That's so basically you took, I'm just kind of along for the ride, Soldier Beer, Jarhead Beer, Seawolf, and turn it into Armed Forces Brewing Company, kind of like just engulf it all into one, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And I love the names because I'm a big fan I like an IPA, and Special Hops just kicks my ass. I love it because Special Hops. And then Soldier, there it is. And then we tell the story.
We got three frogs on there too. You're one.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, check that out. What now? Before we get into all the beers, I want to tell me if I'm wrong here. Tell a little bit of the structure of how to be a shareholder at it, because this is pretty unique at Armed Forces Brewing Company.
Yeah. We, Rob, you and I talked about this. We wanted to bring the military community and Americans all over the country into the ownership here, raise money for our growth. And so we launched our very first Regulation A public stock offering. It's not an IPO. It's a program that was put into place in 2012 to help companies like ours raise capital. But the cool thing about it is not only are we raising money by selling real stock in our company, we're building this army of shareholders who are brand ambassadors all over the country as well. They support the brand. They're out there proselytizing the brand to everybody and bringing more and more shareholders into our company. We have over 9,500 right now, and it's growing every day.
That's just awesome too. And it's patriotic too. Because I don't know if you've noticed, in the beer industry, there's been some, I'm not going to name their names. There's a little bit of controversy for hiring people, but that don't necessarily fit the customer base. But the answer to the one beer that we're talking about is Preamble. Tell us about Preamble.
Yeah, Preamble. This is a light session lager. That's that domestic light lager beer, kind of like Bud Light or Miller Lite. It's a 4.2 ABV, and it is absolutely delicious and
everybody
refreshing
loves it.
And patriotic. It's a tribute to the Constitution.
Are people able to, if someone wants to get it right now that's listening, where can they find this stuff right now?
So we're distributed in 8 states right now, growing into about 17 here in the next 60 days. We've got a whole bunch of states we're bringing online. But they could go to our website and go to the beer locator page. And if that's armedforcesbrewingco.com, they go to the beer locator page, they can put their zip code and stores will pop up. We're in Florida, we're in Alabama, Tennessee, Ohio, North Carolina launches in January, South Carolina launches in January, Connecticut launches in January. We're in Rhode Island, Eastern Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia. I mean,
No,
we're going to go national and global with this.
Oh yeah, I would recommend getting involved with owning some at ownarmedforcesbrewingco.com. Get involved. I love the names of the beers though. We were talking about this offline. So we have list what we have now.
So we've got a Preamble.
Yep.
Preamble's our only patriotic beer. That's kind of that flagship patriotic beer.
Right.
Well, we got Special Hops IPA. That's our tribute to Navy SEALs. We've got a Cat Shot American Craft Lager, which is a great beer too. It's a tribute to aircraft carrier deck crews and Top Guns. And then we've got a Grunt that just came out. That's a double IPA, and it is delicious too.
I haven't tried that one too. I know we were going to call it Ground Pounder, but we switched it to Grunt, and I'm thinking because most grunts couldn't spell ground pounder, so we just made it Grunt. It seems pretty logical to me. I don't think Bob's good enough to make the crayon flavored yet, but we're working on that.
No, but we are going to do a special release every May 1st with
love. Yeah, because we were kicking around Neptune's beer, right? And the one that we talked about, and I kind of put the brakes on this, but I do want to get the listener. So at the Operator Podcast on Instagram or at Armed Forces Brewing Company, on Instagram, follow Armed Forces Brewing Company too. I want to get your opinion on this because it was more of I don't want to put certain people on a pedestal, but part of me just says fuck it. Because the face-to-face with different people that I've gotten, the results are pretty funny. We're thinking about making Osama bin Lager.
Yep.
I just want to get people's, what are your thoughts on that too? I don't want to glorify that prick, but he is dead. Well, I mean, according to me, I've read the internet. It might have been a body double, as far as they know.
Plus the on the label, we had his head there and his eyes were popping out because he saw you about ready to put 3 in. I
want to get what people think about that. The last thing I want to do is be disrespectful, but that's the May 1st, 2nd is pretty funny. Neptune's beer, obviously play on Neptune's spear, which is kind of funny, and then Osama bin Lager. What am I missing? Which other beers am I missing? But the Preamble too. I know I'm jumping around. Everybody's loving Preamble. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a Death from Above coffee porter. It's a tribute to Air Force bomber wings. That's coming out too. Death from Above. We have Black Hops. It's a black IPA. Yeah. Our partner Bob Reprick's that's one of the beers he won the Maryland Governor's Cup recipe with. It's the Black Hops. That is going to be cool. And
he's making good stuff. And just because of recent events, I'm still not able to discuss yet for certain reasons. But a lot of veterans have been a lot of veterans are getting into non-alcoholic beer, and I know we're going to do that, but I'm not going to ruin any of the surprises. I'm very excited for that. Is there anything you want to mention about that other than the name? Don't mention the name.
Yeah, you know what, Rob? That's a growing sector in our industry too. It's a booming sector, non-alcoholic beers. The difference. The thing that mission for us is we're going to create a true zero non-alcoholic beer, not a zero, not a 0.05%. This is a true zero. Technology has, evolved here lately where you can de-alkalize your beer all the way.
Yeah. That's a good one too. I think that's important with a military theme, a veteran theme, because I mean, a lot of guys are just finding out that, sometimes it's obviously one of the most important things to drink responsibly. And some guys, myself included, have proven that some nights you can't do that. So there's important to have an option, because I think more than just the alcohol, it's the camaraderie that comes, especially with something like this, even with the names, even with the jabs you're hearing here, the camaraderie that comes with sort of making fun of each other. Like you're saying Death from Above for the Air Force. I thought maybe like a beer shaped like a desk would have worked for them, but
with the lobster dinner on it.
yeah, with really, really nice barracks. No, but it's cool though. So, getting into starting in Annapolis now, moving to Norfolk, Virginia, home of the largest naval installation in the world. Down there now, very, very exciting. Had you been to Norfolk? Now, see, what I love again too, Alan, that North Carolina, successful, boom, moved to Annapolis, successful, boom, moved down to Norfolk. Was that your first time in Norfolk?
No, we got our beer down here. We got Cat Shot and Special Hops down in the stores in Total Wines and the Navy Exchanges down in 2018. Cool. So I had been down here a couple times Plus sneaking around Norfolk was
Norfolk.
always on our was always on our radar because I mean, like you said, it's the largest naval community in the country.
Yeah, that's basically where I spent my adult life. I joined from Montana, went to Buds in San Diego, and I spent the rest of my career home based out of Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Hampton Roads how it's a great spot. How has it been so far? When did you move down? No, we're gonna get into the bad stuff, but how, like, initially moving there, how was it?
How has it been? I'll tell you what, 95% of the community here, 98% of the community actually can't wait for us to open. It's amazing. And I got a story about that I can tell if you want, but
yeah, fire away. What do you got? I mean, where do you want to start with this? Again, there's no how long have you been down there living?
So since March. Since March. Yep.
And now what did you want to tell initially before I got involved?
I just, you got Norfolk and you got Virginia Beach, and boy, are they two different atmospheres here. You got kind of glum and you got really happy over in Virginia Beach.
Well, I mean, my experience with the military, if you mix beer, you have happy. So that was my initial thought, why it's a great place. But some people not so much. Okay, just to give a little bit of background as far as I know, because I'm a shareholder, and people need to understand I'm not the day-to-day guy. So I like the stuff. I can use my social media, but I'm not the day-to-day down there in Norfolk dealing with the people. How initially was it, and what did it get into?
Well, we found like a great brewing facility to grow our business right there in the middle of Norfolk. It's the perfect size brewery for what we wanted to grow the business, to brew beer. And the tap room holds 600 people. And it's just a cool building. And you could the projected revenue streams out of that place were astronomical when we ran the numbers. But we didn't get a great welcome after a little bit down there.
Why? What happened?
Well, the progressives came out of the woodwork there. It was just, I wouldn't say out of the woodwork. It's a small group of people of kind of from the LGBTQ community and just some progressive political leanings in the craft beer industry. They saw us as big competition down there.
Competition as far as the brewing scene or everything?
Yeah, in the brewing scene and just overall, they thought we hated gay people and just were gonna come and interrupt their community there.
Was that?
And we had no intention of that at all.
No, not at all. That's not what I thought at all. Was that driven? Was it because initially they didn't like the competition, then they wanted to dig deeper into like social media, or they just didn't like us?
Yeah, I think they just didn't like us, period. It was a combination of both of them. A combination of both of them. And I think go ahead.
I have a theory on why. Want to hear
it? Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Now, first of all, I need to caveat that as far as I will, to my dying breath, everyone is welcome at Armed Forces Brewing Company, especially everyone's welcome. Come and have a good time. I think my initial tweet was I did not like the way the Navy was using drag queen in uniform in the Navy as an advertising campaign. My personal response via social media was a little bit of anger because the military's job is not to be inclusive. Everyone should be invited to be part of it, but the military's job relies on alliance solidarity, deterrence, and forward defense. Strength, peace through strength, not by, hey, everyone look at us, you're going to be nicer. China, Russia, Iran would look at our military different if we're recruiting that way. That's my thought, not the place for it. However, if it has to do with morale internally on a ship underway or especially what you do behind closed doors, have at it, have fun, enjoy yourself. Bad face for the Navy. That was my take. What did you think as far as that explanation?
I gotta agree with you. I didn't serve in the military, but I gotta agree with you. I think you said it best when, you know, the military has to be ferocious out there,
Yeah.
especially with heightened tensions around the globe like we have right now. You know, America needs to, or American military needs to have a face of strength. You
I
know,
think so too.
I
And
don't,
my, in my, in
I
my
don't think
personal
they met
experience,
that threshold.
I mean, the military is wasting too much time with something called command climate. My experience with everyone from Marines to soldiers to SEALs, we didn't give a shit about what you do on the side. We don't care about your background, where you're from, what you look like. If you can do the job, that's it, period. Keep it simple, military. And for stuff as far as the politically correct nonsense, that should be more State Department type stuff, not the military. But I said that. And the local community, which has there's a strong LGBT community there. I think from what I saw, they were sort of hijacked by the loudmouths, the people, more the paid activists than the people that actually are just trying to live their lives. What do you think? Or is it more than I thought?
I think it was that, and I think also that Governor Youngkin helped. You know, he stepped in with the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, and you know, Governor Youngkin is a conservative Republican. And I think that chomped at their bit as well.
Oh,
and
so
got
they didn't
them all
like
riled up.
that he was helping us before that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And also, I did mention too. I don't have it written in front of me, but I mentioned that I will never work with pedophiles, which I thought was a pretty strong stance. And if you can imagine the media twisting stuff into saying that I never said that gay people are pedophiles. I said I will not work with pedophiles. That seems to me like something we could all agree on, but they spun that one too, didn't they?
Yeah. A lot of you know, the word trigger comes to mind. Trigger, and you end up escalating and taking out of context, you know, the meaning behind comments and things like that. We heard that through this whole process.
So they don't like me. And then can you tell a little background about Gretchen?
Yeah, Gretchen Smith. They came after Gretchen Smith as well. She's on her advisory board, and
she's a veteran.
Yep, she's an Air Force veteran, and she's a conservative, a proud conservative, and she posts her mind.
Yeah, that's true too. And again, I think I'm a big believer that whatever your beliefs, you should be able to say them. And if you're wrong, admit you're wrong. If you're not, you don't need to hide it. And just because someone's yelling at you, you certainly shouldn't. If someone's yelling at you when they're wrong, you certainly shouldn't apologize because they're not going to see your side. But so they didn't like me. They didn't like Gretchen. And then with you, they went so far as to say you had stolen valor, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's the biggest bunch of shit. You've never said you were in the military.
Never, never, ever. And they cited an interview on Maria Bartiromo. I guess she said, well, Alan, thank you for your service and thank you for your work and all that kind of stuff. I didn't even hear her actually.
Yeah.
You got 3 minutes to get out what you want to get out. I'm getting out beer, company, Norfolk, and investment. That's what's in my mind.
Business. Yeah, but they will jump on that too, and that's that's called spinning. That they'll just spin it to whatever the thing is. So the some of the loudest local community, even though they're all welcome in the brewery. What was the process? There was like a planning board, and then the city council. What happened there?
Yeah, it was. You have to go to get your what they call a conditional use permit from the city to operate the facility. We had to go to a civic league there, which is the residential people that live in your neighborhood. It's called Park Place Civic League. Then you have to go to the business association, which is called the Railroad District. That's where our brewery is, right by the railroad tracks. So you got to get a letter of recommendation or a letter of disapproval, whatever it is, from them. And then you go before the city planning commission, and then the planning commission makes a recommendation to the city council, who is your final deciding vote.
Okay, so the planning committee did not like Armed Forces Brewing Company, correct?
So the city planning committee's staff they recommended approval of this, and then the opposition got up and spoke at the planning commission meeting, and the planning commission reversed their vote and voted against us. Yes.
How many people are on the planning commission?
6.
So and then how many voted for us before they got turned around?
we heard it was going to be a 5-2 vote in favor of us, and it ended up being, or 5-2. Oh, it's 7. 5-2, and it ended up being 2 for us and 4 against us.
Okay, and that was
like
after
that
was after the retort from the people. Were they yelling
after the retort?
Did they make an argument, or did they just scream, or what were their finer points of this wonderful blue-haired argument?
Yeah, so another veteran-owned brewery there in Virginia Beach, the owner there got up and I mean, he literally said, and I'm almost quoting,
Sure.
I don't want the competition. They're going to be competition. They're going to ruin my brand. The public's going to get confused on who is whose. And when you put our brands side by side, they look nothing alike at all. So he was mad from that end, and the other was we're anti-LGBTQ and hate gay people, and
that's ridiculous.
All that stuff. Just
so
ridiculous.
He doesn't want the competition. So that's how America should work. I don't want competition, so you got to leave.
Unbelievable.
That's
yeah.
I mean, everything from keeping prices at the right place, or because of competition, not because of the government telling you what you can and can't do. Because as we all know, the government touches it, turns to shit. But I mean, like the last thing I would ever want to do, seriously, in anything I do, is take business from a veteran. I'm not trying to do it. I think the variety and the quality is going to be good for the town. Me personally, I mean, we were just going to take his business away from him.
Yeah, we were going to reach out. First of all, we couldn't reach out to anybody because we were under that NDA, remember?
Yeah.
So we couldn't get a hold of any of the local businesses, the city council. We couldn't talk to anybody, but we were going to reach out to them and carry local beers on our own taps in our own tap room to spread the love. We want to, we want to lift up better known businesses, not try to close them or put them out of business.
Seems to me like it would make sense. So he didn't like it. How far away is that brewery from Armed Forces Brewery?
It's about 25 minutes away.
25
Virginia
minutes.
Beach.
That shouldn't for
20 minutes. I know.
Okay, I mean that's a big area too. Like there's a. Well, I don't know. That's okay. That's stupid. We're not trying to take your business away. And if another brewery moving in closes you down, that means you need a better product. That's just capitalism. And then as far as they said their big thing was we hate gay people.
Yeah.
That was.
Oh yeah. Oh, the hateful rhetoric. Hateful rhetoric.
Hateful, victim, resistance, occupier. That's the kind of stuff they do.
Yeah.
Those are the trigger warnings. But in my experience too, I don't. The loudmouths don't represent everybody. The loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. That's not the majority of the minority is not represented by the loudness. But boy, they sure do yell a lot.
We live in a free country where you don't have to go buy a product if you don't want to. You don't have to frequent a business if you don't want to. You have the freedom to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the rhetoric there, the testimony for city council was, I don't feel safe in my community now. The big bad boogeyman, Rob O'Neill and Armed Forces Brewing Company are coming into town. I don't feel safe. I'm not going to feel safe going there.
Well, I haven't been in Norfolk in about 10 years. So I mean, I can't reiterate enough how everyone's welcome. Come in and enjoy. I mean, what a better way to resolve differences than just over a good beer.
Absolutely. You've said it 5 times.
Yeah.
And you've looked at everybody and said the same thing. Everyone's welcome. I've said it 20 times too.
And I'm going to come down there too. And everyone is welcome to come in and hang out. Like I consider myself easy to get along with. Maybe I have a mean tweet now and then, but that's not real. So we lose the city planning council doesn't like us. And that goes to the city council recommendation of no, correct?
Correct.
And that's when so that's kind of shady, because if the city council votes you down, what does that mean?
That means you you can't operate. You have to shut down completely and either fold your business up, or if you got the funding, file a lawsuit.
See, that just sucks too, because there were no illegalities there. You're just dealing with someone's emotions and not necessarily on truth. That was a little stressful, wasn't it?
It was, and this place had been a brewery for 9 years, so we weren't doing anything different. It was purely they didn't like the theme
Yeah.
of it, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, imagine an armed forces theme in Norfolk, Virginia. So, okay, so the city council vote comes up, and we're wondering what's going to happen. Can you walk us through what went down there? And this is a big win against cancel culture, but I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I just did. What happened?
Yeah, so the opposition had ended up sending in about 787 emails from people that oppose Armed Forces Brewing Company. We put together almost 3,000 emails from shareholders and supporters in the area and supporters from all over the country. So we submitted those. We got put together a deck, if you will, and kind of rebutted all these lies and accusations that the opposition had been telling to the planning commission and the city council and all that kind of stuff. And we all went down and spoke. We had a bunch of people there to support Armed Forces Brewing Company. And we went down there and spoke, and our attorney wrote a letter to the city and the city attorney telling them that this is a First Amendment issue, and it's also mainly a land use issue, not a we don't like the theme issue. Place has been a brewery for 9 years. 9 years.
And they're just, well, I mean, that's it. So, okay. Present a reasonable argument. Was the opposition, were they all emotional and yelling, or did they at least seem calm? How did that go? I wasn't there.
They were calmer than they were at the planning commission hearing, because they knew they had to be calm and have the proper decorum there.
I wasn't there for that either. Just tell me, how were they at the planning commission? What did that look like? Because I've seen a couple paid protests in New York City. I've never really seen like the good shit you find on social media. What were they like at the planning commission?
Planning commission hearing, they were screaming in the mic
what were they screaming
about the hate that we projected, what a danger we are to the community. One girl got up, and God bless her, her grandfather or somebody served in the military, but she was crying. Armed Forces Brewing Company, they glorify war and through their marketing and all this kind of stuff. So yeah.
Oh man, can you imagine associating the armed forces with war? No, I just it just blows me. I mean, there's the because I wasn't there, and it still strikes me as awkward when people talk about me and I'm not there, because I didn't, like, they don't know me. And I certainly don't know them. It's just that it's weird because of a tweet or something on X or Instagram that they think they know the people there. I mean, Gretchen's one of the nicest people I've ever met. You're one of the nicest people I've ever met. And it's just the stolen valor and QAnon and me, the homophobe. And it's like, all right, that's not true. But what else you got? Because that's when you no longer have the truth or the law, you resort to name calling. And once you're just calling names, you're wrong, I think. And so, well, we did have some great shareholders and board members show up. I'm going to get McTeams to tell his story. He's just a badass. If you don't follow McTeams on Instagram, he's getting into the tattoo stuff now. He's a very creative dude. He went down there and he gives a very good, non-emotional talk. And I heard he did well. And then, so there's 7 members on the city council, correct?
Yep. There was one missing at the city council from the meeting. So it was a 6-1.
6-1 vote in favor of the law.
In favor of the law.
And I'd be willing to bet the one voted just to get reelected the next cycle, because he or she probably represented the specific area that does not like us. Is that correct?
Spot on.
Okay. Well, I mean, the law is the law. And if you don't like it, that's that. But big win, huge win, not just for Armed Forces Brewing Company and for Hampton Roads to get access to this kick-ass beer, just for the win against cancel culture. We've been seeing people get canceled for everything since the lockdown.
Yeah, we had a good lawyer too, former delegate Tim Anderson, Virginia delegate there. He did a really good job too of staying on that legal narrative of this is a land use issue. It is not a, you're infringing on First Amendment rights if you're going to vote this down.
Yeah. So they voted 6-1 and we're good. So we're in Norfolk. How's the building look?
I'll tell you what, we got in there. It's a big building. It's over 26,000 square feet. We cleaned it up. We sunk a lot of money into renovation. It is so cool inside. And not only are we going to have our great beer in there, we got this huge tap room space with an outdoor beer garden, and we're even putting in a brick and mortar merchandise store upstairs on the second level that's going to have Armed Forces Brewing Company and RJO Apparel and hopefully some other brands.
Well, speaking of McTeams, I'm going to need to get with him to get creative and design me some new shirts because I'm not creative at all. Front Toward Enemy is good, but we got to come up with some new stuff. So we're going to sell that there. Let's get some other apparel in there. And what's the grand opening look like? What's the timeline there?
Well, we're looking in January sometime. We're we had to put everything on hold. We had to put all our hiring on hold and some of the construction on hold because of this nonsense. Yeah. So we're just now picking up the pieces. We got we got to sift through about 200 applications and get the team hired that's going to operate the place.
I think that's awesome. Good. I can't wait to get down there and see it. What but other than a couple of the loud people, are the locals there excited to see it? Have you talked to anybody around town?
So here's the story I was going to tell you real quick. I told you, it's weird in Norfolk. People are a little head down. They don't talk a lot. They don't interact a lot when you're at the grocery store, when you see your neighbors and things like that. We went over to Harris Teeter in that area just a couple days ago, and I went out and bought a bunch of hams and turkeys for American Legion Post 37, who is going to feed 97 active duty military families and some veterans for Christmas. So I went over and did that. It was amazing. We were running around with 2 full shopping carts. All of a sudden, people just came alive. They were smiling at us. Rob, I shit you not. People were walking. We had Armed Forces Brewing Company shirts on. People were walking up to us, giving us the thumbs up. Can't wait for you to open. Heard you got your license, all that kind of stuff. You know,
that's great to hear.
Absolutely.
No, that's good too. I mean, I did see that. I actually retweeted from Armed Forces Brewing Company as far as giving back to the community already, not even open yet. That's awesome. And that would be nice to see as opposed to the division, especially with politics now that people want, just the community getting together at a place like Armed Forces Brewing. I can't wait to get down there. I was in the Navy for a while. I think we should have no shortage of sailors in the area. I think a good deal for sailors will be, buy a beer, the second one's regular price, something like that.
Yeah, well, just
I'm kidding. That's not a sale. I was joking.
Like I said, this was a small group. 98% of the community are just excited for you to come down, Rob, and for us to open.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, even the people that didn't like us at first, maybe I said apologies don't necessarily work. Maybe they'll come around. They're always welcome in there to come grab a cold one. That's very cool. I'm looking forward to getting down there. Can you please give us the websites people should go to now? Because I mean, like I said, I'm not into the day-to-day, but you do want to get involved with this. This one's getting a lot of steam behind it.
Sure. They should become a shareholder in our company. They should go on this mission with us, and they can go to www.ownarmedforcesbrewingco.com to go and invest. It's $200 minimum to get involved in the company. And, Rob, we keep our shareholders informed of everything that's going on.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, but it's a good spot. I'm looking forward to get down there, Alan. Great job, man. You've had this on your back the entire time. Brother. I like to show up, get a little glory, and fuck off. That's kind of
come down and get some glory.
Yeah, but we're going to get this going. 2024 is going to be huge. I just wanted to get you on here because obviously the quality of Armed Forces Brewing Company is awesome. You're doing a great job. This is great American beer, great American company. I'm very excited about it. Just wanted to get a big win against cancel culture. So what would you like to say before we jump off? Anything else?
Yeah, well, I want everybody to know our beer's in Walmart stores, Sam's Clubs, Publix, Winn-Dixie, Carnival Cruise Lines just picked up our beer. It's going to go into their fleet of ships. We're chain heavy, and we're Food Lion, Harris Teeter. I mean, everywhere we go, the chains are picking us up.
It's outstanding. I'm very, very excited. I'm loving it. I can't wait to get down there. Alan, I really appreciate your time today. I'm sure we'll get back on and we can talk about, on the Operator podcast next time, we'll just talk about current events and how everyone's stupid but us.
Yeah.
Oh.
I hear you. Hey, Merry Christmas, my bro.
Merry Christmas, brother. I'm really glad you're here. Talk soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
So, that's cool too. Obviously, I did get involved with Armed Forces Brewing Company because I was just looking at social media and wanted to be a part. I like to try to be a part of something cool, not necessarily, make a fortune, which would be nice, but just to be part of something cool, something you can gather around, get people be part of a team, which I love. Saw it in Armed Forces Brewing Company. And I want to thank Alan Beal for coming here and sharing the story. We're very excited to open in Norfolk, Virginia, however you say it. It's spelled Norfolk, but you could tell me how you say it. They say Norfolk there. I'm still working on it. But it's a very, very cool story. Do check it out. Follow him on Instagram and on Twitter just to see what's happening. Like Alan was saying just now, going to be opening in 2024. If you want to invest, again, own Armed Forces Brewing Co.com. Get in there and do that. And I think that the overlying importance of this whole thing was the battle against cancel culture. It's not, we did talk about the dude that owns a brewery that said, 20, even though it's 25 minutes away, he's afraid of our business, which is not, I don't think that's a good way to run a business. If you're afraid of someone, that's the whole phobia bullshit. Just do better, be better. But then the LGBT mafia that I personally don't think represents the gay community did come in yelling at us and talking about feeling unsafe or screaming and yelling and all that stuff too. I've said this before, and I hope I'm not out of line. But my gay friends have said that they're getting tired of being hijacked by a lot of the activists, a lot of the paid activists that have a bigger worldview as far as like world government and communism and fascism and Marxism, instead of, they're just using that as one of their topics. The LGBT, then they're throwing so much more in there than just the people who all they wanted to do was get married and have a successful life. Now it's coming into everything else, and they're dragging it into the far left narrative. Very, very important win against cancel culture. Just because you disagree with someone, you shouldn't just cancel them. And we see a lot of that too. A lot of it's because of politics. A lot of it because of the left-leaning social media stuff. I mentioned that @McHuya is still restricted for something. I don't even know what I said. And it was on August 6th of 2022, maybe. Then that's the anniversary of Extortion 17. I'm assuming I said something out of line or whatever. Still restricted. They love to shut you down if they can't argue. We've seen it with former presidents. We've seen it with all kinds of stuff. Everything from the you said something they didn't like, so they fine you $125 million through, or whatever the number is. Bankrupt people, but you can't declare bankruptcy because you said something. That's the First Amendment stuff, and it's one leads to the next, and it gets worse and worse and worse. This is a big win for law-abiding capitalists. Even to the point where capitalism is not a bad word, but they make it that way because the greed, the victim, the oppressor, the oppressed. And they use that, the resistance, everywhere. They use it now. You're seeing this cancel culture on campuses too. The difference between the Palestinian protesters and the Jewish protesters. Palestinian protesters talking about killing people, running around, yelling, screaming, tearing monuments down, all that stuff. And the Jewish protests seem to me to be a little bit less violent, and even as far as just because people are told to hate Israel and from the river to the sea, even though they don't know where Palestine is because there is no Palestine. They couldn't show you most of this stuff on the map, but they're told to regurgitate it and hate everyone else. It's a beer company, and they wanted to close it down because of a tweet, but they didn't. We won, and it's big. I had a tweet 2 days ago where the Empire State Building, which if you don't know is in New York City, it's a big building. It actually was hit by a bomber once too. So planes flying into buildings for various reasons. Obviously, the terrorist attack on 9/11 was hit by radical Muslim terrorists. But the Empire State Building the other night, lit itself up in burgundy and white to honor Qatar Day, Qatar National Day. Qatar is a country in the Middle East. Doha, Qatar. We have bases over there. We have weird agreements with different countries, not necessarily allies, because it will benefit both interests. So we do have bases there, and we did negotiate with the Taliban there, but they're also hiding Hamas, Qatar. Hamas hates the United States. Don't think that they like you, but their billionaire leaders are living in Qatar. Qatar is the number 2 state sponsor of terror, if I'm not wrong, behind Iran. After several attacks, they did facilitate Osama bin Laden. They moved people there. The billionaires that are Hamas that steal the aid money that a lot of countries are sending through the UN there, they're smoking cigars and driving Lamborghinis and doing what they do with Russian hookers, not worried about the innocent Palestinian people, even though they are the elected government of the Palestinian people. Qatar's not a good place. Now, there are nice places there, but Qatar's not our ally. Qatar, I would say, if given a choice, would take our destruction over different alternatives. Even though a base is there, we pump them money, even though they're oil rich. And they do like the oil. They're going to say what they need. They're going to do what they need for their best interests, but they are a state sponsor of terror. Somewhere like Manhattan should not be putting burgundy and white on the Empire State Building, one of the most recognizable buildings in the world in Manhattan, simply because we're kissing the ass of someone that hates us. Working with them, maybe. I mean, we have other people over there. And again, ally is a tough word. Our base there is, it's worth having for our interest because we can launch from there. But there's stuff going on that I don't trust. When we did the Captain Phillips rescue, because we didn't think about training scars. We never thought, because the hostage rescue had really never been done since inception of SEAL Team 6 in 1980, not for SEAL Team 6. We thought about how do we get on the plane. We thought about how do we pack our bags. We thought about how do we rig the parachutes. How do we get on the buses? Who's driving them from the command to the thing? How do we get everything there? How do we take off? Who's the lead jumper? How do we exit? How do we get in a stack and land on the boats? And where do we go? How do we get into the tactics? We never thought, what do we do when it's over? How do we get the guys home? How do we get the boats home? What do we do with the parachutes? So as we were sitting on the USS Boxer after rescuing Captain Richard Phillips from Somali pirates in 2009, they didn't know what to do with us. We jumped out with nothing because everything from the load plan was too heavy, too many bullets. There are certain places we put different bags in different boats. They were too heavy. The parachutes wouldn't work in them. Long story short, we ended up jumping with what we wore on our bodies. That's it. That's what you got. So you jump with that. Then they kept us on the Boxer, limited laundry. Then they put us somewhere else. And then they decided, well, we're going to send you to Doha, Qatar, in case of a follow-on. Well, we can't do a follow-on because it would be very difficult because all we have is the stuff we have now. And the parachutes are at the bottom of the damn Indian Ocean. I think the boats are still over there. Don't know. But they sent us to Qatar, our ally, in quotes. The first thing that they did when we got there, knowing that there was just a major hostage rescue, and there's a bunch of dudes with beards getting in there, because of weak leadership, because of horrible planning, because of nobody wanting to think outside the box or offend someone because of political correctness to an Arab ally, they quote unquote processed the entire team, which means they took our IDs. Why we jumped with our IDs, I still don't know, but they got them, which means Al-Qaeda probably got them. There are ways to go around that. I can't get into that because there are certain things that I can't talk about. One of them is the ID thing. Not going to touch it. But we went there. We're giving our enemies information. We're giving them intel. We're giving them pictures. And, then 20-something years after 9/11, we're lighting up the Empire State Building in honor of the National Day of a state sponsor of terror. And that's where, you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to want a glass of milk. They keep taking and taking. It's like anything with the government. Like I said at the beginning, you give them an inch, they're going to keep doing it. You keep turning the other cheek on a lot of these people, and you're going to have a Tuesday morning like 9/11 again. And it all starts with the little bullshit, the little lies you tell yourself to try to make the so-called oppressed not oppressed. And you start believing bullshit words like resistance, which is not resistance. And you start thinking that the good guys are actually the bad guys because the bad guys are telling you that they're the oppressor, which they're not. You don't know your history. You don't know your map, but you're being taught something by someone with another agenda. It starts with the little stuff. It gets bigger. So if you have a building, don't light it up in burgundy and white. And when you get processed by a state sponsor of terror, don't give them your government-issued ID. And you're never out of the fight.